Welcome to Sports Talk with RKJ. I'm your host, Steve Risser, along with my co-hosts, Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galuli. And the two best words in sports, Game 7, and that happens tonight as the Nationals take on the Astros. This has been an interesting series with the road team winning every single game in this series. The Nationals won the first two in Houston, then the Astros took the next three in Washington, and now the Nationals have won the Nationals won last night. So it's a Game 7. You got Steven Strasburg, you got Zach Greinke. You got Max Scherzer, you got Zach Greinke, and the way this series is gone, this should be a really good game. I mean, the biggest thing in this series has been is there's been a lot that both teams have hit. I mean, Nationals didn't hit well in Washington, but they've hit well in Houston, especially Juan Soto and Adam Eaton. They've been really good in this series. On the Astros side, Alex Bregman's been really good. The issue with the Astros, though, is outside of Garrett Cole in Game 5, they really have not gotten great starting pitching. Verlander was not great in this series. He's continued to struggle in the World Series, and that happened last night. And the biggest story for the Nationals was how great Steven Strasburg has been this postseason. He was great last night, going 8 1/3, giving up 2 runs, and he's been outstanding in the postseason, the best pitcher in the postseason.
That man is going to get paid.
5-0 in the postseason so far.
Outstanding. He's been outstanding in the postseason, and the reason why the Nationals are playing a Game 7 in the World Series.
Yeah, and he's got this opt-out too, Strasburg. So the way he's
easily opt out. I think it was like he has 4 years left on his deal.
Yeah.
Opt out and get paid.
Yeah,
he might be getting more than Garrett Cole.
The way he pitches in the postseason, it would not surprise me. The way he's been pitching, a 1.9 ERA, 1.98 ERA, and it looked like going back Game 2 was like they're going back. When they were going to Nationals Park, it's 2-0. Nats, and then the Astros outscore them 19-3. They take a 3-2 series lead, and it looks like, oh boy, the shift's turned. It looks like the Astros are going to take it, but then Steven Strasburg last night just absolutely shuts the door down. 2 runs and only 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, and 8 1/3 innings. Just an absolute dominant pitching performance, and then you don't have to use any of your bullpen. Doolittle has to face 2 batters to get able with 1 hit. You win the game, but the Nationals I think they just played with house money last night, especially too. They got up 1-0. The Astros put up the only 2 runs they got on Strasburg in the first inning too, and then he kind of just settled in and relaxed and was just outstanding and led them to Game 7 tonight.
One of the reasons why I think you always gotta worry about playing a team that's been playing with house money like the Nationals, because everyone was thinking Astros are going to win this because. What's the weakness on the team? Can't really point one out. When you're playing a team with house money, they have nothing to lose. That's why I'll compare it to how when the Patriots played the Eagles, when they ended up losing 2 years ago with Nick Foles. Everyone's like, you're in a Super Bowl against the Patriots. They're, the best team in the league with a backup quarterback. If you lose, you're supposed to lose. It's kind of the same thing here. You're playing the Nationals. You're supposed to lose. So just try it out. If you lose, okay, and if you win, it's probably one of the bigger upsets you'll pretty much ever see. I mean, look at the records in the in the regular season. Astros 107 wins, 55 losses. Nationals were 93-69. So, I mean, that's a pretty big difference. I know at one point the Nationals were decently under 500. It's kind of like how this St. Louis Blues were in hockey. They all of a sudden were under 500. They make this magical run. I mean, it's very possible that the Nationals could win this game. I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit more high scoring for Game 7, because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Max Scherzer has severe neck spasms and couldn't do a single thing. Like he said, I read that he couldn't get out of bed. Mm-hmm. He couldn't really clean himself. His wife had to help him with everything. He essentially was useless. He couldn't move without being in severe pain. Now I understand you get a cortisone shot or something of that sort, but how do you go from being able to not literally move essentially? And then in 3 days, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, it was Sunday, I think.
In 3 days, all of a sudden you're going to be able to pitch Game 7, the biggest pressure game you will ever pitch, perfectly fine. I think he's going to be good, but you tell me he's going to be Scherzer? I gotta see it first.
I think adrenaline's gonna help that too out. That definitely
that's
help.
it. Probably the first like 2 to 3 innings, but after that, all of a sudden, are you gonna see him on the mound? You're gonna see him go like you're gonna see him like maybe you feel like he could be tightening up or something. Maybe the spasms could be back to, especially with his motion. His throwing motion is not smooth and silky smooth. It is like jerking like none other. I don't know how that guy. I mean, he might have had Tommy John, but I don't think so. I don't know how he has it with that motion. You see pitchers that have those weird motions. I don't kind of like Ubaldo Jimenez and what's the guy from the Giants? Tim Lincecum that had those weird jerky motions, and they kind of fallen off. Like Scherzer's somehow still pitching like one of the top pitchers, and it's going to be interesting to see what the next happens in his motion. If he could keep it going, if he can keep it going, I mean, if you're the Nationals, just keep throwing out. I mean, you don't need to touch your bullpen other than the 2 guys, and if you do, just throw in Corbin, your starters, and then you'll be in amazing shape.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game could come down to the bullpens, though. And if this is why the Nationals, to win this game, need Scherzer to go far and not have it come down to their bullpen. Because you saw in games 4 and 5, the Nationals bullpen outside of Doolittle and Hudson is not good at all. So and you saw last night
they're legitimately just straight up useless.
Yeah, and you saw last night they had Scherzer warming up and out of the bullpen to come into the game if Strasburg was going to lose it. So if this game comes out of the bullpen, it's definitely advantage Astros. But Scherzer, I think, was better in game 1 than Greinke gave up 1 run in game 3, but he didn't even last 5 innings. So this is going to be. It's going to be very interesting to see how this pitching matchup goes between these 2 guys. I mean, I think that that both these pitchers, I think Scherzer's better than Greinke, but this is going to be a really, really good pitching matchup in Game 7. And also the Astros got to find a way to stop Juan Soto because he has been outstanding in this series for the Nationals. Had that big home run last night to put them ahead, and I mean, and even Rendon had a huge night. He wasn't having a good World Series until last night. He had that RBI single, that home run to tie the game, and then that big 2-run double to put the game away. So, and he had done a big 2-run home run, and then the 2-run after the controversial play, which we'll talk about, and then the 2-run double to put the game away. But last night there also was the game did not go without controversy as Trey Turner was called out for impeding the I think he was in the way of the guy throwing the ball of the defender throwing the ball. So I mean that was interesting. That was a really interesting call. It was a bad call. Dave Martinez got ejected, and
was it the first manager to get ejected
since 96, Bobby Cox. Yeah. So it was a really bad call last night, but it really didn't end up mattering because Rendon ended up hitting the home run and putting the Nationals ahead 5-2.
That had a ginormous chance to be Saints Rams call. Like if the Astros ended up winning that, all anyone's talking about is that call.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially with it being a championship round.
Yeah.
Literally Astros win, they're the champs. So. That call is brutal. I don't understand. You even reviewed it for 4 minutes. Like, meanwhile, the whole time, like, I know you're not supposed to go out of the, like, this is, I'm trying to see if the camera can, but like, you're not supposed to go out of the base path. He was still in the base path and it hit the back of his leg. Unless we're playing by schoolyard rules where you're able to peg the guy with a ball, which last I checked in major leagues, that ain't a rule. So I don't understand what was wrong. It's because it's not like Gurriel really tried to, like stretch out. You know how a lot of first basemen, like you see, let someone like Freddie Freeman do a lot where they really stretch out and go almost into full on slots. He kind of like alligator armed. He was kind of like instead of full on, because he easily could have reached in front of Trey Turner as Trey Turner's going this way and caught it, and he probably would have been out. I mean, still wouldn't close play, but he probably would have been out. And that call, those kind of calls are the reason why they're going to ask for, electronic umps and of different sorts, because when you get calls that wrong and then you review it for that long of 4+ minutes and you still manage to get it wrong, people are going to want you to fix it, and the only thing I see is somehow to go to electronic something. I mean, look at what happened like in the Saints Rams. That call was disgustingly brutal. Now we got a new rule.
Yeah, I don't understand what they saw in that, because he got hit with it, and it was...
Yeah, it was like in the back of his knee almost. It was like that, almost that far up his leg.
Yeah, so I don't understand, because it wasn't like he was running around or running in, like it wasn't like he ran into it.
Yeah,
So
it
I
wasn't
don't-
like he ran like out and then tried to cut back or something. It was literally just straight as an arrow.
So I don't understand how they called it like that, but I don't really have the explanation on that. It wasn't the right call, but luckily for the Nationals, it didn't really matter because Rendon hit the home run anyways. So it really did not come up to be. They kind of just, they came up with the big hit anyways. They didn't even really need it. Again, it would have made the game even. It would have even gave them a couple more runs, but it's just. And going back to electronic players, I am for and against it. I think then it's perfect. Yeah, but then you lose that human element, and I know some people don't like the human element, but you do lose that. So
I think it was in the minors when they did the electronic strike zone.
Yeah.
It looked incredibly just dumb because it was like the pitch would happen, and then it was like
you have to wait. Yeah,
it was like 1, 2 strike, next pitch. 1, 2 ball. It's like that. Just it looks wrong.
You're slowing down the game even farther, and
because it's like I'm all for like the staying in there because you need to have a human element of some sort, but like it's like human element to an extent. You can't be getting stuff that wrong, especially when it's that blatantly obvious. It's just like I don't get it. I really don't. Especially I feel bad for Joe Torre had to go up and explain why it was like that, because I guarantee you there's no way he thought that was the right call. It's just he has to go up and explain it because that's his job. Meanwhile, his whole time in his head he's thinking, this is dumb, I should not be doing this, I don't understand it, but hey, that's my job.
Yeah, and I don't It's one of those weird calls.
Absolutely.
But seriously, imagine the controversy. The Astros end up winning that game. That literally that title at that point is tainted because of that call being that blatantly wrong. I don't understand that. And that's why people think that like games are rigged because of dumb calls like that when they're so obvious and you review it and it's so wrong. I don't understand.
I do remember hearing the story. Remember the time that Justin Verlander had that perfect game and he had the 1 out left, and the guy missed.
No, that was Andre. That was
Andre
Galarraga.
It was with
Andre
the Tigers,
Galarraga.
though.
I think it was Verlander.
Because it was on the
Galarraga,
Tigers,
yeah.
though.
Oh, okay, that's probably why. And the guy missed the bag by for
Jim Joyce, I think was his name.
It was Jim Joyce, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember the ump said actually the game when he saw the replay at first, he started breaking down crying after he saw that it was his fault that he blew the perfect game.
And guess what? Yeah.
So
like,
so who knows? Maybe the ump see that now that they reviewed it, that's I don't know. If I don't think that ump blows back and like starts crying, but me, he's like, okay, I think we made the wrong call here. If he ever sees it.
But what looks? Let me ask you guys, what would look worse? What ended up happening, which they don't overturn it, or they look at it and then they overturn it. I mean, clearly not overturning when it's blatantly obvious. It's like, might as well just admit that you messed up and move on with life. Boom, there you go.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll go to our predictions for Game 7, and I think that the Astros are going to win Game 7. I think that the reason they're going to win the Game 7 is because they have the better bullpen than the Nationals. I think this game's going to come down to the bullpens. I think both pitchers are going to pitch pretty good, but not great. I think the game's going to come down to the bullpen, and eventually I'll take the Astros bullpen over the Nationals bullpen, and that's why I got the Astros winning their second World Series in 3 years.
I'm going to take the Nationals to win this Game 7. I think Scherzer does pitch better than Greinke. Even though I'm a little bit worried about the neck spasm, back spasm, and all that. But I think he pitches a little bit better. He gets a little bit farther than Greinke. I don't really trust Greinke in a huge game like this. And I'm going to keep the trend of the road teams winning games. They're 6-0 in the series. So I think the Nationals will pull this one out with Hudson and Doolittle going 8th and 9th inning.
I think the Astros are going to win. I could see like a 7-5 victory for the sole reason. I don't think Scherzer's 100%. I mean, he's probably one of the tougher pitchers, there are in the league. I mean, remember earlier in the season when he got hit in the eye? I don't know if it was at batting practice or from where, but hit in the eye and had a nice black eye, and he still pitched. But with him, I don't think he's at 100%, and like I would agree with you with Greinke. He's kind of been hit or miss this year with the Astros. I mean, you saw the Yankees got to him in their series with them, but That's why I think it's going to be a little bit high scoring, like around 7-5 type game, and that's when I think bullpens are going to come in to play. And unless they feel like just pitching all their starters and just not even touching their bullpen, unless we're going like 14 innings, which I mean, who knows? But then I mean, it's going to be interesting. I got to take the better bullpen, but if the Nationals win, I would not be surprised because, like I said, they're playing with house money. Play your hearts out. You lose, you're supposed to lose. It's the Astros. You win. One of the better upsets you'll ever see.
Should be a very, very interesting Game 7 tonight. I mean, just our third Game 7 of the World Series in 4 years. And if you go back to the Royals and the Giants, it'd be the fourth Game 7 we have in 6 years. So should be very, very exciting.
Game 7. It's the best thing you could ask for.
Should be very exciting having a Game 7 of the World Series tonight. But we're going to move on to the NFL and a very quiet trade deadline. Some small moves.
It was the most uneventful thing in the world.
I mean, yeah, and there were rumors that, the Jets were going to trade everybody. Jamal Adams, Robbie Anderson, even Le'Veon Bell. It looked like the Jets were going to trade everyone.
They didn't do a single thing.
Yeah, outside of trading Leonard Williams didn't do a single thing. I mean, yes.
Good Lord.
Yes. Pretty much all that happened was...
Gigantic waste of time.
Kenyon Drake was traded to the Cardinals. The Giants got Leonard Williams for a third in 2020, a third-round pick in 2020, and a fifth-round pick in 2021, which will become a fourth-round pick if the Giants sign him to a long-term deal. And as a Giants fan, I don't mind the move. I think that he's good against the run. He can get pressure on the quarterback. Yes, the sack numbers have been down the last couple of years, but I think with seeing the Giants defense, they need anything they can get on defense. You can never have enough pass rushers. Yeah, and I think
AK look at the Niners.
With all the cap space, I think they're going to eventually end up re-signing Leonard Williams. So, and for a third-round pick, giving up a third-round pick this year and a fourth-round pick next year, I think it'd be worth re-signing Leonard Williams. I think he definitely could be a decent addition to this defense. So I wouldn't mind resigning him. Also, another move that happened was Talib went to the Dolphins, and I think that was just pretty much a salary dump. The Rams just wanted to get rid of him, wanted to get some value, and the Dolphins. I mean, right now, just
he's on. The thing is, he's on.
All right, that's what I know.
Yeah, he's coming. He's coming.
15, I think.
Yeah, he's eligible to come back week 15, which he's probably not going to play. And the Rams literally did a salary dump so they can have more salary for Jalen Ramsey.
Absolutely, that's exactly why they did it.
Yeah. Poor guy. I feel bad. I feel bad for him because you literally go from a team who's in the potential running, like if they ended up getting hot, could make a run possibly at a Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden you're with the Dolphins. Like you're literally in the NFL graveyard at this point. They're actively trying to tank.
You saw that play on third down. That all-out blitz on third and 20, third and 25.
So we're gonna blitz 8. There's going to be 3 receivers out on routes, and we're going to guard 2 of them. One being double teamed. Interesting. Bold strategy. Failed miserably. The one thing I'll say with the Dolphins, they at least try in games. Like, they still manage to lose, but they at least try. So, I don't know entirely, like... it's like they tank at the end of the game, but they'll try until there's like 5 minutes left. I don't get it though. It's weird.
It is really, really weird. So we're going to start with the week 9 schedule. We start with tomorrow night's game with the 49ers traveling to Arizona to face the Cardinals. And I think the 49ers will have some success running the ball. I think because the Cardinals have trouble stopping the runs. So I think the Niners have success running the ball. The issue is 2 of the Niners tackles will be out, which Chandler Jones could have another huge game on Halloween night, on Thursday night. And on the other side of the ball, though, I think the 49ers pass rush is really going to dictate this game. I think they're going to get pressure on Kyler Murray. I don't think the Cardinals are really going to get a running game going. I think this is a low-scoring competitive game because it's a division game and the Niners are going on the road. But I think the Niners go to 8-0, and I got them winning 20-13 on Thursday night over the Cardinals.
I got the Niners taking this one 27-13. I think a slow start we saw last week. Like the Vikings let the Redskins hang in there last week on Thursday Night Football. Like I could see that maybe happening again, but just looking at the way the Niners played on Sunday against the Carolina Panthers, that was a good Panthers team, and we really saw Kyle Allen play very, very well the first couple of weeks we saw him, but it looked like he was like a
deer in the headlights.
Yeah, he was not great. He really showed the Niners have done a great job. And the Cardinals this year, they only have 4 turnovers. They only have 4 takeaways all season long.
It's like the Niners from last year.
Yeah, so I think they're going to show defensively late. So I think it's a close game at halftime, but I think the Niners pull away in the second.
I have the Niners winning big. I mean, really big. I had them winning 38-14. For the sole reason, like you said, the Cardinals struggle against the run. What do the 49ers do almost better than anyone is run the ball. The weakness of the Cardinals on offense, offensive line. What do the Niners do almost better than anyone? I mean, what do they have, 4 or 5 first-round picks on their defensive line? They can rush the passer, the best of them. Right now, Nick Bosa might be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, not just Rookie. I mean, I think he's easily Defensive Rookie of the Year. Like, you don't even need to talk about that. He's right now in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, along with the other 3-4 pass rushers you got on that team. I mean, right now, it's just insane. I really don't see a way the Cardinals can win other than maybe some fluky turnovers by the 49ers. But other than that, I think it's going to be a long game for Kyler Murray and the Cards.
Yeah, it very, very well can be. So we got a game in London this week as the Texans and Jaguars face off with each other. And I think this is going to be a really close competitive game, just like it was last time. But here's the difference between the Jaguars this year and last year. Jaguars are definitely better on offense. Gardner Minshew is definitely an upgrade over Blake Bortles. You have Leonard Fournette healthy. DJ Shark has really stepped up as a receiver. And I think not having J.J. Watt's definitely going to make a difference in this game. I think Fournette has a big game that's going to help Minshew off play action. And I think that Minshew has a good game. I think on the other side of the ball too, what's going to contain Deshaun Watson is the pressure Jacksonville's going to put on Deshaun Watson, just like they did in week 2. And they're going to with Josh Allen, Calais Campbell, and Yannick Ngakoue. They're going to get pressure on Josh Allen, and it's going to be. I think that Watson will make plays, but I think he won't make enough plays. And I think that Jacksonville pulls this upset. I got Jacksonville upsetting the Texans 27-24.
Yeah, I got the Jags 23-20. Last time when they played week 2, the Texans did hold Leonard Fournette to only 47 yards rushing. I think that will definitely, if the Jaguars want to win this game, that will definitely increase. But that was also Minshew's his first career start that day. So I think now we've seen much more comfortable Gardner up there. So I feel like the Jaguars go out there every year too. The Texans have only gone out there twice. The Jags are 6-6, so they're used to the travel to London. I feel like sometimes you could always put that into effect, the traveling out there to London. So Jaguars are used to it. So I think Jaguars will be able to pull it out, and J.J. Watt's be a huge loss again for the Texans. It's a shame that he cannot stay healthy. It stinks that he can't. He's one of the top defensive players in the sport, and it just stinks that he can never stay healthy.
He was gonna go down in the top tier pass rusher of all time. I think you could have been seeing him right there with the Reggie White category, because that man was insanely talented. Like you said, it's not even like little injuries where he's out for a couple games, maybe plays 14 to 12 games a year. I mean, it's just lost season after lost season after lost season. And with not having Clowney, I don't see how they're going to really get a pass rush. I just think that right now, Deshaun Watson's just playing on another level. I mean, do you guys see the touchdown he threw after getting kicked in the eye?
Crazy, yeah. He's a top 5 quarterback right now.
It's like you saw him, he literally threw the pass like that and just throws a dime to, I believe it was a tight end. But I have the Texans winning a close game. I think it's 27-24. Win for Texans for the sole reason I think Deshaun Watson is clearly the best player in this game, period.
And you mean the Texans Jaguars game?
Yeah, yes, yeah. I think Deshaun Watson. Yeah. Well, I mean, in this game, yes. In this game, Deshaun Watson's the best player, and I think with you have him. Obviously, there's no Ramsey, so I mean, AJ Bouye against Hopkins is okay, but I mean, I think he's gonna be able to get a lot more than he did in the first game. I think he only got like 5 catches for like 40 yards in the first game. I think see Hopkins have a big game. And right now, I just think the Texans need to keep this going. If you have a chance of possibly battling for a wild card, because there's obviously, battling for a potential bye, because obviously we have the Patriots are undefeated. We're just going to see what's going on with the Chiefs and with Mahomes out, with the Ravens. But if you're Jacksonville, you right now you're feeling good, because Gardner Minshew. What were you expecting once Nick Foles got hurt? Just to tank. And have a terrible season. Gardner Minshew's doing amazing, and if you need to get him going with Fournette and you get Chark, that's literally the formula. Fournette, play action, DJ Chark. I mean, it's been working, and I could see there's definitely a possibility where it's gonna keep working. But either way, I think it's gonna be a close game, and London's gonna be treated to a nice game this week.
Yes, it should be a really good game between those two teams. We got a matchup in the AFC with two quarterbacks we expected to see before the season, Big Ben and Andrew Luck, but we'll be seeing Jacoby Brissett and Mason Rudolph, and this should be another really good game. But I think with James Conner potentially not playing and the Colts defense being pretty good, and I think they're going to get some pressure on Mason Rudolph. I think Jacoby Brissett will have a better game this week. He made a great play last week to win the game, but I think he'll have a better game this week. I think Marlon Mack will do enough on the ground, and I'm going to take the better quarterback in this game. I'm going to take the road team. I'm going to take the Colts 24-17 to beat the Steelers this week.
Yeah, I have the Colts because same reason. If Jane Conner's playing, I think I may take the Steelers, but it's really close. I didn't like the way the Colts played last week against Denver. They didn't look good. I know Vinatieri kicked the game winner. They didn't look defensively. They looked really good. Offensively, they didn't look great, so that worried me. Because the Steelers, they got such a slow start last week with the Dolphins, and then on that third down, that blitz got them back into that game. On that
30 seconds left, third and 20. Let's send 8.
Yeah, that's the Dolphins for you right there. But they weren't great. And Connor, if Connor's not healthy, I know they have Samuels and Benny Snell. They're not, what James Conner is. So I think the Colts probably pull this one out on the road.
Yeah, I have the Colts winning. I think it's going to be a relatively ugly game. It's going to be. I have the Colts winning 24-13. Like you said, if James Conner can't play, you want to bet on other running backs for the Steelers. I'm not sure about that, but if they're the Colts, you need to bounce back because, like you said, that was an ugly game that they played against the Broncos. I mean, you need to start getting. Maybe just at least opening up the offense slightly. I mean, not just full on pass the ball 60 times with Brissett because that's just not his game. Maybe start opening up a little bit. Start using like T.Y. down the field, and Paris Campbell ever plays or does anything, start using him down the field. That's you need to start opening up that offense because that can make it even better. But I do have the Colts winning by 11.
We have the Vikings heading to Kansas City to face the Chiefs, and the thing is we don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to play or not. That's definitely going to impact my pick. But
he if you play him, you're asking for him to get hurt against this team.
Yes, I agree there. But I think if he does play, I think there's some way with scheming out a game plan with Andy Reid. I think there's some way, even with him not being 100%, I feel like they win this game. I think that they get the ball to Tyreek Hill. They get the ball to Travis Kelce. And we all know Kirk Cousins in big games. I think this game can be really close. I think Dalvin Cook's going to have a big game because the Chiefs have trouble stopping the run. But I think this game's going to be really, really close until the end. And we all know what's going to happen. The Vikings will be down late. And I think Kirk Cousins throws a interception late in the game to cost the Vikings the game. And I think that if Mahomes doesn't play, though, the Vikings win by a couple scores. So Mahomes playing, Mahomes not playing is going to impact my pick this week, but I'm going to assume Mahomes does play this week, and I got the Chiefs winning 28-24 over the Vikings.
I have the Vikings win this one 27-24, and this is for Mahomes not playing. I think you really shouldn't, because with that offensive line going with this Vikings defensive line, and you're just going to get them more hurt, and it just does not make any sense. Get them healthy, and look, in that division too, and I know they may not get the bye. Well, they're still hunting for the bye. But in that division, there's no real threat to the Chiefs right now. I know Oakland's 4-4. The Chargers aren't great. They're at 3-5, and the Broncos are 2-6. Like, you pretty much have that division wrapped up already. Just get them healthy for the playoffs. Or not send them to the playoff, but just get them healthy and then bring them back.
Yeah, send them like another game or two.
Yeah, just get them healthy. Don't risk them now. And I know, in Kirk Cousins, he may make a mistake or two probably. The Vikings still have 4 games in prime time. They still have 4, I think 2 Monday nighters and 2 Sunday night games. So
at least for Cousins, it's a 1:00 game.
Yeah, so
we saw a 1:00 game against the Packers. Though he threw a late game interception. So
yeah, we did, but. I know the Chiefs defense isn't great, so I feel like Dalvin Cook will have a big day. I think they'll be able to lean on him on the game on Sunday. Matt Moore didn't play awful for the Chiefs. He kept them in that game, but I think the Vikings defense is better than Green Bay's.
I have the Vikings winning 31-24. I honestly think they'll win whether Mahomes plays or he doesn't, because there's no way this man's going to be 100% at all. And with the Chiefs giving up 145 yards rushing per game, and the Vikings just love running the ball. I mean, they're averaging 160 yards rushing per game. Dalvin Cook's playing out of his mind. I think Adam Thielen's going to be coming back this week. You have him, Stephon Diggs, the play action. I mean, name a corner on the Chiefs that's any good. Like, there isn't really any of them. I mean, I guess the best one's Kendall Fuller, and he's more of like a slot corner. So, I mean, good luck covering those guys. And I just don't see right now the way the Chiefs defense is against the run. It's just, you can just run the ball on them just all day. All you got to do is just double team Chris Jones. D Ford's not good. Or not D Ford, but Frank Clark's not the best against the run. He's more of a pass rusher. So it's like they can't stop the run, which then means you have that offense off the field, as long as you want. And then they got to rush it, push more down the field instead of being able to be more methodical down the field. And ultimately that's going to play in the Vikings' hands, and I have them win by 7.
We got the Titans traveling to Carolina to face the Panthers in an interesting game this week. Ryan Tannehill will be the starter again, and Kyle Allen will be the starter for the Panthers. And the Panthers had a really tough week last week against the 49ers, but I think they bounced back this week. I think that Christian McCaffrey has a good game. I think Kyle Allen has a good game. And I think their defense does enough. I don't think they completely stop Derrick Henry, but they contain Derrick Henry, and I think they do enough to win. I think Allen makes more plays than Ryan Tannehill in a close game. I think the Panthers do enough to win this game, and I got the Panthers going to 5-3, winning 24-20 over the Titans.
Yeah, I got the Panthers. I got the Panthers bounce back this week, 24-17. Tennessee, they kind of got they got 4 turnovers last week against the Buccaneers, which Jameis just not great with the ball, as we know. I think Carolina defense has a bounce back week. I think they play really well. Tannehill did play pretty well against the Tampa Bay Bucks. But I think Kyle Allen gets back, plays much better than he did with the 3 interceptions, and I think Carolina takes this one at home.
Yeah, I have the Panthers winning 27-21. For some reason, you have the best player in the field easily right now with Christian McCaffrey, and I think being able to use him, whether it's in the pass game, in the run game, just feed him the ball, and then you can mix in Curtis Samuel, DJ Moore. The only thing that scares me is that I feel like the Titans are going to be able to keep it a lot closer than it should be because of the run game and being able to, just hit him with Derrick Henry all day. Because, right now the Panthers are giving him 135 yards rushing. That's not that good by any stretch of the imagination. So, in the run game for the Titans, going to be able to keep them in longer than it should be. But ultimately, I had them lose by 6.
We got an AFC East matchup in Miami with 2 of the worst teams in football. The Jets travel down to Miami to face the Dolphins, and it's been a rough week for the Jets as they've been shopping players around. They shopped around Robbie Anderson. They shopped around Jamal Adams.
And he was not happy about that.
They traded Leonard. Oof. They traded Leonard Williams, and they also were shopping around Le'Veon Bell. And you look at the Dolphins, they had that 14-0 lead on Monday Night Football against the Steelers. They ended up collapsing and losing that game. I think this is a competitive. If the Dolphins are going to win a game, this is probably the game they're going to win. But this is going to be a competitive AFC East game. But at the end of the day, I feel like the Jets pull out a close one, 24-21 over the Dolphins, 24-21 over the Dolphins. But let's be honest, even though I think the Jets win this week, they are completely dysfunctional right now.
They are, and when I was doing the picks and all that, I did have the Dolphins winning at first, and I'm just like, I don't know. The way that they finished off Monday, I'm just like, I don't know. I think they'll be in the lead, and then I think they'll just show it. Because let's be honest, they had 5 turnovers the other night. That really hurt. And then they didn't even play bad at Buffalo. They really didn't. They went up there and they played hard. They lost by 10. They put up 382 yards of offense against a good Bills defense.
Even the game against the Redskins. Remember they went for 2?
Yeah.
Instead of going over, they're like, yeah, why not?
Well, I'm like,
let's see what we get.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? It's not like,
They're like, we're terrible. Why not? Well, let's give the fans some entertainment. Yeah. Otherwise, we might have 2 fans in the stadium.
Yeah, let's go for the one. But, yeah, I think the Jets will be able to pull this one out. I think, Dolphins are winning late, and I think Darnold maybe comes back and, or it's a tie game late, and Darnold comes down the field and leads them to, like, a touchdown. And Adam Gase, I think he's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. He's not doing so hot right now with the Jets.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong. I have the Jets winning 20-14. I think we're going to see an ugly game. The only reason I think that the Jets will win this game is the Dolphins against the run are just terrible. They're giving up 160 yards. The Jets have Le'Veon Bell, and I think Le'Veon Bell will carry them, have them a big game, and he'll carry them another one.
We got the Redskins traveling to Buffalo to face the Bills, and the Redskins will get Trent Williams back. He ended his holdout yesterday.
Is he actually going to play, though?
We'll see. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. But I mean, but even though the Bills, I think, are a fraudulent team, they proved that last week against the Eagles, losing them 31-13. I definitely think the Bills win this week because the Redskins are absolutely terrible, and it probably won't start Dwayne Haskins again. They'll probably continue to. They'll see what happens if it's Case Keenum or Colt McCoy. But I think that the Bills win this game, not by a ton, but I think the Bills win it by about 10. I think they have success in the run game with Gore and Singletary. I think Josh Allen has a decent game, and I think the Bills defense pretty much shuts down the Redskins offense. And I got the Bills going to 6-2, winning 24-14 over the Redskins. I
have Buffalo win this with 20-13, but I have the Redskins covering. The thing was, the Bills just got absolutely torched on the ground. I think the Eagles had 218 yards on the ground, so I think they're able to keep it on the ground with AP, and I think they do enough to keep it close. And I just, I'm not expecting Trent Williams to play. I'm expecting him to probably be on the sidelines. But the Bills, they looked like a team that could definitely contend for a wild card spot. And then last week, they just got up. They did not look good. They didn't even look good into Miami the last 2 weeks. So I think the Redskins keep it close because they played well last week in Minnesota for a short week.
Yeah, definitely. I have the Bills winning 21-13. For some reason, like you said, the Redskins, they're just terrible right now. The Buffalo defense, although didn't play the best against the Eagles, I think they'll show up, and I could see them. I could honestly see them maybe getting like 2 defensive touchdowns because their defense right now is one of the better ones that you'll see in the league. And Josh Allen, it's just the whole problem with Josh Allen. It's just being consistent. I mean, they don't have the best weapons. Like a wide receiver should be priority number 1 to me coming this off season. Whether it be a trade in the off season, drafting, free agency, whatever it is, gets me a bona fide number 1 receiver. But right now, they don't have it. But the Redskins, they're dysfunctional. They're right up there with the Dolphins and the Jets, being some of the most dysfunctional teams. So I have them losing to the Jets, an ugly game. Or sorry, to the Bills. I don't know why I said Jets. They had them losing to the Bills in an ugly game, 21-13 Bills.
We got a matchup between 2 underachieving teams in Philadelphia as the 3-4 Bears travel up to Philadelphia to face the 4-4 Eagles. The Eagles got back on track last week. The Bears' problems continued with their quarterback and their field goal kicker. So I mean, I think this game obviously still going to be a really competitive game. I think the Bears defense will keep them in this game, but I just feel like that Mitch Trubisky at this point doesn't seem like he's a franchise quarterback. He's not playing like a franchise quarterback. He's been playing. And
they could have had Mahomes or imagine Mahomes or Deshaun Watson with the same. This team would be in the Super Bowl.
I know. The Eagles. I think the Eagles can contain. I think the Eagles shut down David Montgomery. I think it's a tough day for Trubisky, and I think Jordan Howard. This is a Jordan Howard revenge game. I think Jordan Howard has a pretty good game against his former team. Yeah, his former team definitely misses him in the ground game. As you've seen the way the Bears have ran. He ran the ball decent last week. You've seen the way the Bears have ran the ball this week. They really miss Jordan Howard. I think Jordan Howard has a pretty good game, and I think the Eagles win this game. And I'm going to pick the Eagles to win this game. I got the Eagles going to 5-4. I got them winning this game 24-16 over the Bears.
Yeah, I got the Eagles 23-17. The Bears are I think they're down to 8% chance on to make the playoffs, and this was a Super Bowl contender week 1 when we started the season, and it's just been. Trubisky's not a franchise quarterback, and I remember when he came out of the draft, I saw him the year at North Carolina. He was a bench guy for the first 3-4 years of his career. I don't remember if he redshirted or not, but he was a 1-year wonder coming out of college, and that's what I thought he was.
Weren't his stats not even like insanely good?
No,
they were decent, but they weren't like god level.
They weren't, and I think North Carolina that year was like 10-2. I think North Carolina too had like a huge year, like one of the best years in a while. And yeah, they weren't great. I don't think he was like in the Heisman category, because. Of course, it was like Mahomes, Watson. I forget really who else, but like he wasn't great. He had kind of a good year, but nothing. But the Bears saw something. Matt Nagy saw, but the Bears saw something, and it really had not turned into much because they traded up too. They traded up a pick for him too, I believe. They were at 3. The
Niners were at 2, and they like swapped some for some reason. They decided to.
Yeah, so it hasn't been the right move for the Bears, and I think Matt Nagy's seat's gonna get pretty hot right now. They're 29th, the Bears, in offensive in every in offense overall, offensively and defense, and the passing, rushing, and just general, offensive yards per game. They're 29th. And for the Eagles, they look, this is a team. They didn't look like the Cowboys. They come out last week against the Bills. They run for the ball. They run the ball a lot, and it looks like they found a formula run the football first, and then Wentz was 17 for 23. So I feel like, maybe the Eagles found a nice formula of success last week against the Bills.
Yeah, and actually looking up Trubisky's stats, he actually had a better season than I thought in Atlanta. He had almost 3,100 yards, 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions on 68% completion. So actually a lot better than I was anticipating. But anyway, back to regularly scheduled program. I have the Eagles winning 21-15. I think it's going to be close for some reason. The Bears defense is incredible. The problem is, and what this team can easily run into the second half of the year, is this defense just quitting on the team. Because if you constantly are making stops and you're constantly being asked, can you hold teams in the modern day NFL to under 14 points, please? Good luck with that on any consistent basis. It's just, I just don't understand why they haven't at least get something at like a quarterback. Like, are you gonna try to do something in the offseason if you're the Bears? Like, you need to just admit your mistake now and call it a day and move on from Trubisky. But they didn't. I think that, like you said, the Eagles found out what their game plan is. To mix in Miles Sanders in the passing, we saw he had, that long touchdown. He's really good in catching. Obviously, Jordan Howard can provide you with the, the power run, and then you can mix in then like the play action. Or for the love of God, if you're the Eagles, mix in some RPOs, please. It worked with Nick Foles. Just try it with Carson Wentz. But I think it's going to be a close game, and I think ultimately you could see the Bears kicker cost them a game. I mean, this is just a theme ever since, Cody Parkey hitting them with the double doink. So, good luck, Bears, but it's just going to be even a longer season than it was before.
We'll go to the 4 o'clock games. The Packers travel out to L.A. to face the Chargers, and I think Aaron Jones has a really big week because the Chargers can't stop the run at all. David Montgomery, who hasn't had a good year at all, ran all over them last week. I think Aaron Rodgers has a big week, and the whole Packers offense has a big week. And I think on the defensive side of the ball, the Packers get pressure on Phillip Rivers. I think Rivers makes some plays, but not enough plays. And I got the Packers winning this game by a couple scores. I got the Packers winning 34-23 against the Chargers.
Yeah, I got the Packers winning this one 27-20. Aaron Jones was huge at passing game last week, 159 receiving yards, and this week he's probably gonna do a ton on the ground. And for the Chargers, they've been in every game. They've lost every game by a touchdown or less. So I think they're gonna play hard. I think they're gonna keep it close. But I know it's at home, but it's probably gonna be 70% Packer fans in LA because as we know, Chargers do not.
Chargers fans do not exist.
Yep. So I think they got a nice win on the week last week against the Bears. I know they held on for dear life, and it closes you want. It's a very close win, but they got to win, and I just think the Packers right now, they're playing well. Went to KC last week on the road and won, and they'll go to LA and get the win this week.
Yeah, I had the Packers winning 27-17. Like you said, I think it's just because you're going to be able to mix in that run game. Like you said, Aaron Jones last week had an amazing game receiving wise. This game, it's going to be rushing wise. And right now, you're seeing Aaron Rodgers might be right up there, 1 or 2 for MVP. I mean, seeing what he's doing. And Devontae Adams hasn't played in 3 to 4 games roughly, and you're seeing I won't call them random guys. I feel like it's disrespectful, but it's not. You're not playing with his top level people, and the guy's still putting up insane stats. That throw he made to Jones, where honestly I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying to throw that ball away, but ultimately ended up being a perfect pass for a touchdown. And I think right now the Chargers, they're just a disappointment of a team because you saw how talented they were last year, ultimately lost to the Patriots, and now it's been full on a disaster. I mean, you even saw a couple weeks ago Keenan Allen said something about it, and ultimately the Chargers will lose this game.
The Browns head to Denver to face the Broncos, and if the Browns don't win this game, Freddie Kitchens should be fired. I mean, now with the Broncos not having, they won't have Joe Flacco in this game. Brendan Allen will get the start. The Browns, this is a must win for the Browns, or Freddie Kitchens should not have a job on Monday.
He should even be a dominant win, too.
Yeah, but they need to win, or Freddie Kitchens should not be a head coach in the NFL. But I do think the Browns will win this game. I think they'll wise up finally. Just give the ball to Nick Chubb. The Broncos don't stop the run that well. Just give the ball to Nick Chubb. Help Baker Mayfield off play action. And I think that the pressure, though, because the Denver offensive line has not been good at all this year, I think that Vernon and Garrett are going to put pressure on Brendan Allen. And I think the Browns win this game by a couple scores. I got the Browns winning 24-13 on Sunday over the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos win this one 17-16. I don't like the Browns at all. I saw them beat the Pats. Like, all right, remember that play call when they ran the jet sweep and they tossed it like
Lawrence Guy interception. Like
what? Who tosses the ball in a jet sweep?
Well, I'm trying to think of who it was. I think it was somewhere on ESPN where they said when you toss a jet sweep is you don't just toss it out like straight. You toss it up, so it falls down. Receiver or whoever comes by catches it and moves on with life.
Yeah,
and he's like, Lawrence Guy, here's your first interception of your career, most likely.
And I had to do the game on radio, and the Pat guys they're big time homers. But
I like him.
Oh, you love
Zolak. You pretty like listening to Zolak.
I had to do the game for radio, but the thing was, the guy kept saying, one of the Patriot, I think it was Zolak, was saying every Browns player on the sidelines was wearing the big jackets and coats, and they were sitting on the what'd you call, like all those the heaters?
Yeah, the heating
on the bench.
Heating. I can't.
And they're from Cleveland too, and it was just kind of bizarre because I did see a couple pictures, and it's like you should be used to the sloppy weather and the cold. Now you're going to Denver. I don't know how cold it's going to be in Denver.
And it wasn't like it was that cold in Foxborough.
It was rainy.
It was just raining.
It was kind of rainy, but I don't know how cold it's going to be in Denver. I haven't seen. I want to look at the forecast, but that gives me enough hope that they may not be coming out ready. And it's been the year of the backup quarterback. I'll just say that. So Brendan Allen, the 4-year man from Arkansas. Hey, another backup quarterback. It seems to be a theme this year. So I'm going to take the Broncos 17-16.
Yeah. The word I was trying to look for is heated benches. There you go. Finally figured it out. I have the Browns winning 21-13. I just think it's going to be ugly enough where it's going to be a lot closer than it should be. Because like you said, 3 straight plays they had a fumble, or I guess they technically that counted as an interception, by Lawrence Guy, where you saw the first turnover by the Browns against Patriots. I believe it was his own offensive lineman kicked out because he kind of got flipped a little bit. His foot comes up, hits the ball, pops out. Then the next play, that just isn't the second turnover. If that doesn't epitomize the Browns, I don't know what is. Long 75-yard rush roughly. I mean, the guy is breaking tackles. I think he broke like Devin McCourty attempted to tackle and failed miserably. And then Jonathan Jones just comes right up behind him, boop, pops it out. Patriots ball. And then you had the following, like you said. That is just awful execution. And what makes it worse for the Browns is you had a bye week to prepare. It looked like you were coming off of a Monday night game. Like you had 6 days, if not less, to prepare. They looked unprepared. They looked unorganized and just flat out terrible in a game that, I thought was going to be close looking at the beginning of the year and ultimately wasn't. But I do have them winning 21-13. And like Steve said, if they don't win this, Freddie Kitchens needs to be gone at this point. Call it a day. Admit your mistake, move on with life, find a new coach.
Absolutely. So the Bucs travel to Seattle to face the Seahawks, and I think Russell Wilson has a huge day. Not on the ground, but through the air. I think Russell Wilson has a huge game passing the ball. I think he throws for at least 3 touchdowns against Tampa Bay secondary, which is absolutely terrible. And I think on the flip side, I think the Seattle's defense gets a lot of pressure on Jameis Winston, and I think they make life difficult for him. He throws a couple picks. I got Seattle winning this game big. I got Seattle winning this game big at home. I got them winning it 34-17 over the Bucs.
Yeah, I got to see Seattle winning this one 34-24. Seattle has not been great at home this year. I think that both their losses have come from home games. They have, and they're usually dominant at home. So I feel like, they play better this week at home. And Russell Wilson's just going to tear them up through the air. Tampa's 31st in the passing game and on defense. Russell's going to tear them up. And Jameis he can't hold on to a football. I think they're going to turn the ball over 3 or 4 times. Seattle's going to win this one.
Yeah, like you guys said, I have Seattle winning. I have them winning 33-20. Like you guys said, Buccaneers defense, passing-wise, insanely awful. It's just, again, like I said last week, how are you so good against the run and so bad against the pass? I don't understand how that's just that physically possible. Russell Wilson playing like an MVP, he'll have 3. I could see 300 to 400 yards. I could see even maybe 5 touchdowns with how much Winston turns the ball over. But I think it's gonna be a long game, and I have the Seahawks win 33-20.
We got a matchup in Oakland between the Lions and the Raiders, and I think this is going to be a really entertaining game. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a big day on the ground. I think Derek Carr will have a good game, and I think Matthew Stafford's going to have he's been playing really well this year. I think he has a really, really good day through the air. And I'm going to take the Lions in this game. I'm going to take them close. I got the Lions beating the Raiders 31-27.
I got the Raiders winning this one 34-30. First home game for the Raiders in 2 months, so tons of travel. They played well last week in Houston. They got conservative. They lost the game. And I feel like, again, I think I've said this last year in Oakland many times, but last year in Oakland, I just feel like they're going to go out there. Carr's a hometown kid. I don't see them losing this one at home. And I guess I just got news. The Lions just dropped Paul Perkins, but he has 3 carries this year for 4 yards. So probably not a big loss to the Lions at all.
You'd hope not, right?
But just saw that. But I think the Raiders got the win.
Yeah, I have the Raiders winning 24-21. See a last-second field goal because Josh Jacobs has been surprisingly a lot. I thought he'd be a solid rookie and have progress in his sophomore and junior year, but he's having a very good rookie year. And right now the Lions giving up 130 yards per game on the ground. Josh Jacobs right now has 124 carries, 620 yards on the ground, and 4 touchdowns. And Darren Waller might be one of the most biggest surprises there are in this NFL season, because when he was with I believe he was originally drafted by the Ravens, and then he had some substance abuse issues, which seems like he's fixed that, and he now got like a 3-year extension worth like $9 million a year, which is pretty good for a guy kind of coming out of nowhere. And he's having a very good year with 46 catches, a hair under 500 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And I think ultimately you're mixing Darren Waller, you mixing Josh Jacobs, and it's going to be a good game. That should be your formula. It's just pound the ball, mixing that play action. Ultimately the Raiders will win the game by 3 against the Lions.
We got the Sunday night game, which Kyle and Justin will be interested in, as the Patriots head to Baltimore, which used to be in the Joe Flacco days a real nemesis of the Patriots. They head to Baltimore to face the Ravens, and I think what the Patriots are going to do is they're going to take away what the Ravens do best, is run the ball. I think they're going to take that run game away, force Lamar Jackson to beat them from the pocket, and I think he's going to struggle to do that. But I do think that Baltimore is going to get pressure on Tom Brady, and I don't think the Patriots will have success running the ball either. So I think Baltimore is going to stay in the game. I think it's a really, really low-scoring, competitive game. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take the Patriots, and I got the Patriots winning this one 20-12 over the Ravens to go to 9-0.
I have the Pats win this one 21-17. And you want to know a fun fact? There's been no quarterback since Bill Belichick's been the head coach of the Patriots. No quarterback has ran for over 100 rushing yards. One has run for over 90. Can you guess who that is? It's a pretty famous quarterback. He may not be in the league anymore.
Oh God, I'm gonna feel dumb when you say it, because I feel like I'm not.
It may surprise you.
Oh God, for what I feel like it's gonna be someone that can't run.
No, he can't. I think. All right, so Tim Tebow, 93 yards back in Week 15 in 2011.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
Denver. I think the final was like 41-24.
Oh yeah, was that the? Yeah, that was. That had to be the Tebow mania. See. Yeah. Oh yeah, now I remember that when you. Yeah. Good Lord.
Yeah. So Tim Tebow.
The legend himself.
Yeah, but I think the Pats are going to take away Lamar Jackson. And in this, I think they'll take away Lamar Jackson. He's going to have to make throws, and I don't know if he'll be able to against the Pats secondary. It's been playing very well. And congrats to Bill Belichick for winning game number 300. And I never heard about that till like Sunday on the pregame show. I couldn't believe I never
That's because you see the Patriots don't care about that stuff. It's just like you'll give after if you saw the behind the scenes thing when they always showed their post game celebration, Kraft gave a little speech. They gave him a game ball, and even his wife had something, maybe I don't know. I'm assuming at home balloons and all that. But yeah, it's not an individual accomplishment for the Patriots. It's a team accomplishment.
Yeah, but congrats to Bill Belichick. But I think they'll pull this one out on the road. 21-17, their first real test of the year.
Oh yeah, definitely. This game is going to be good. The only reason why I have the Patriots win by 14 because I haven't won 27-13. I think it's going to be just the late touchdown that's going to put the game away. But you see, when they played in Baltimore, it's always been tough all the time. I mean, you see. the game. I'm trying to think of. There was a Justin Tucker game where I swear he missed that field goal, but they counted it. It was a game where Torrey Smith, I think, like right before his brother unfortunately passed away, and then he had a ridiculous game. You saw even in 2007 when they went down to Baltimore and Rex Ryan called the timeout in their undefeated season, gave them patient a chance to ultimately. It's always a close game. And the problem I just see is passing wise is for the Ravens is if Marquise Brown, they're saying he may or may not play. If he plays, that could really open up the deep pass game because you're going to have to treat him like he's Tyreek Hill. Put Jonathan Jones on him, have someone over top, because other than that, I mean, what they have, Mark Andrews, where you can put maybe someone like a J.C. Jackson on him. And then Stephon Gilmore, I mean, put him on whoever, and he'll most likely shut him down. So ultimately, you're going to force Lamar Jackson to pass. And right now, I don't see him being a consistent enough passer against a defense of this level to win in the game. So I do have the Patriots winning in a close 14-point victory for the Patriots.
We got a rivalry game Monday night as the Cowboys travel up to MetLife Stadium to face the Giants. And I think the Cowboys win this game, but I think this is a much more competitive game than it was in week one. The difference is Daniel Jones is the starter. This time, Eli Manning isn't. I think the Giants' defense has definitely improved since week one. And I think the Giants do a good job containing Ezekiel Elliott. I don't think he has a huge day on the ground. I think Dak Prescott makes some plays, but he doesn't have the game he had in week one. And I think Daniel Jones does a decent job too. I think he has a decent game. I think Barkley gets his yards on the ground as well. So I think this is going to come right down to the end, where the score is tied late, but I think Dak Prescott drives the Cowboys down the field for a game-winning field goal. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys to sweep the Giants and win 23-20.
And then we get to hear Dak Mania.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I got the Cowboy win this one, but I think the Giants do cover. I have 30-24 Cowboys. Dak Prescott absolutely played a perfect game week one, 400 passing yards. I think it was like 28 for 32, something like that. There's no way he's gonna play like that again Monday night. I think the Giants come out and play really, really well. The Cowboys did have the bye week, so they did have 2 weeks to get ready for this after they looked really good against the Eagles. But yeah, Giants on a Monday night home with the Cowboys coming in. I think the Giants come out, play really hard, fight hard. I think they just don't have enough yet to compete or get over the hump against the Cowboys. So I think 30-24 Cowboys get the win.
I have the Cowboys winning 27-20. Like you said, the Giants just don't. They'll have enough to be competitive because it's definitely not going to be a blowout unless Daniel Jones plays bad, which I don't expect because he's done a lot better than what I thought he would this year. I mean, they have enough weapons to keep it in. Like you can have Evan Ingram, Saquon. It's just. Overall, I don't think, unless somehow this Giants defense forces turnovers, which, I mean, we shall see, because the NFC East games seem like they never make sense, where one team should blow out the other and it's close. This is maybe like the defense for a team is bad and they play lockdown for a game. It's always... it's almost like a high element of randomness to these games, but I do have the Cowboys winning. It's gonna be a good Monday night game. I have them winning by 7.
All right, we'll wrap up the show talking about some college football, and we got the big one in Jacksonville this week as Georgia plays Florida. My cousin goes to Florida too, so he's definitely gonna be watching that game. And I think this game is a close, competitive game. But at the end of the day, I think Kirby Smart and Jacob Fromm pull it out by 3. I think Georgia wins the game against Florida and takes control of the SEC East. I got Georgia winning by 3.
Yeah, I got the Gators. I love the way Dan Mullen, they're healthy now too. Both teams had the bye week. They usually do before this game. But the Gators last day, they were the only team I think that had to play like 6 straight weeks. They're healthy. Bernard's back. Carter's back on their D-line. 2 of their leading sack guys and tacklers. And for for Georgia, they lost their top 5 wide receivers last year, and they don't have the same wide receiving core. And Kirby Smart is having them run a lot of seam routes and stuff, and they can't really get a lot of separation. And Florida's corners are really, really good. And when Jake Fromm has to throw the ball over 35 times, he's 0-5. He's perfect when he doesn't. So if it's low and they're able to use Swift in the run game and all that, but this is the best front 7 that Georgia's gonna have to face all until if they do get by this game and they do go to the SEC championship game, of course, Alabama, LSU have great front sevens, but Florida's, I think, right now, Florida's front seven's been playing really, really well. I don't really like the way Georgia's played the last couple weeks. I know that they played Kentucky. They won 20-0 in the monsoon. But I think Florida does enough, and this rivalry game, too, is finally back. It's kind of really been all Georgia the last couple of years. But Dan Mullen finally has his team ready to go. Kyle Trask has been, like, the best thing for the Gators because, as we know, Felipe Franks wasn't the greatest quarterback in the world. I'm not, probably be rude saying now maybe it's a good thing he got hurt. But, Kyle Trask really stepped in there, really played well. And I finally found out who the starter was on Trask's team Trask never played was De'Aaron King. So that's why he was always on the bench and he never got in the spotlight or anything. But I think the Gators, and I know I said this on our preview show, Steve, back in August. I said Georgia would win this game, but now I'm going with the Gators 24-20.
I have Georgia winning a close game because with Georgia, when they slipped up and ultimately lost to South Carolina in double overtime, they were probably thinking that their playoff chances were, they took a big hit. Now, we saw with Oklahoma, losing, you see some possible light. And if you win this game, I mean, I'm assuming whoever wins this game will probably be like third or fourth, and because with the first playoff rankings come out next week, right?
Tuesday night, yep.
So I think whoever wins this game ultimately will probably be like third or fourth in the playoff rankings. I would assume probably most likely fourth, especially if it's Georgia. But if it is Florida winning, I could see maybe third, possibly second, depending on how dominant of a game it is. The only reason I think that they'll end up winning right now is the fact that right now, the offensive wise, I mean, if you just look at the stats right now, Georgia is getting 471 yards per game. Florida's getting 419. Defensive wise, Florida's giving up more yards. They're giving up 195 in air. Georgia's giving up 181. I think the big difference is going to be in the rush defense because Georgia's giving up 85. Florida's giving up 124. And I just think if Swift is able to consistently gain yards, and like you said, Jake Fromm, if he's more of a complimentary player, then maybe he can mix in that play action, but they need that run game because like you said, the pass game, the explosiveness, it's just not there this year. But I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I could honestly see it coming down to a last second field goal for either team, like make for Georgia and they win, or Florida field goal to tie the game. But I think Georgia is going to win a close game. I'll say about 24-21 victory for Georgia.
We got a big day in the Pac-12, and it'll start at 4 o'clock as Utah heads to Washington to face the Huskies. And I think this is going to be an upset. I think Washington wins. I don't think Utah is good enough offensively, and I think Washington pulls an upset in a low-scoring game. I got Washington beating Utah, ending Utah's hopes of getting to the college football playoff.
As you know, Utah playoff.
Yeah.
If I knew Lee Corso was going to pick him, I love Lee, but I would have stayed off Utah.
Is it like the total jinx?
He had Wisconsin in the national championship game last year.
Poor guy.
Yeah, so Utah's defense overall is the best in the country, I think. They are led up front by Bradley Ani, 17 tackles, 8 for a loss, 7 sacks. They're led up front by their D-line. I think Washington have a really tough time to run the football against Utah. They're only allowing 56 rushing yards a game.
This is insane. I mean, these numbers are almost like just yardage wise, are almost like the Patriots defense.
Yeah, and the thing is, Utah, I was looking at all their recruits. They're all 3-stars. These aren't 5 or 4-star kids. And they're all in the thousands. They started defense. They've done this by developing, and they've just getting blue collar guys. And I think Utah's defense will play well. I think they're going to make Jacob Eason struggle. He played well against Oregon. I was surprised. I didn't think he was going to play as well as he did. I know they blew that. And also, Zach Moss is one of the most underrated running backs in the country. He's averaging just under 70 yards a carry. Really good, really shifty. I think Utah goes on the road and they barely keep their hopes alive. And, and don't look now, but they're tied with, I think, UCLA in the Pac-12 South. So they're going to keep those hopes alive. Washington having a rough year, but I just don't think they have enough. But it's tough to go to Husky Stadium and get a win.
I think that Utah's going to win it by a touchdown for the sole reason, what you said, Justin, the fact that Utah's defense is ridiculously good, especially in the run game, only giving up 56 yards per game. And obviously with the Washington loving to run the ball, averaging 172 yards, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. And against the defense of Utah, I think second half, though, especially Washington will be certain to become one-dimensional. And then Eason, although he's having a very good year, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a hair under 2,000 yards. I just think against a defense of this good of Utah, that ultimately Washington will lose by 7.
We got a matchup in the American Conference. Justin's probably looking forward to this game as undefeated SMU travels to 7-1 Memphis. And I think that Memphis wins this game. They pull the upset in a close game. I got Memphis ending SMU's undefeated season.
Yeah, it's great to see the American Conference on the spotlight like this. Now, even though UConn's going to be gone by next year, I really don't care about the American anymore. But the thing is, the American Athletic West Division is better than the ACC Coastal and maybe even Atlantic if you don't put Clemson in there. Besides Clemson, the American's not bad. It's kind of, the top teams in the conference aren't bad. It's kind of the bottom half where UConn sits. It kind of lacks the talent in the American. But this is a shootout in the making. Both these teams have scored points, and I think Memphis is going to pull this one out. But SMU is averaging 500 yards of offense. Just spectacular. Memphis is averaging 470.
Jeez.
So, and I just, but both defenses, are middle of the pack. They're 60th and 55th. So we're going to see a lot of points. I think it's going to come down to turnovers. And I think Memphis is going to create one or two more. SMU does get after the quarterback too. They do have 36 sacks. And so I think SMU will go down the upset, but first time since 1984 before they had their death penalty that they've been in the top 25. So it's been a great story of what Sonny Dykes has done to that program, and just they've been surprised. I didn't think they'd be 8-0 in this point, but they look really good, and both these teams too still have that chance of being in that New Year's Six as the Group of 5 winner. So they're also playing for that as well.
I have SMU winning, like you said, a high scoring game. I think it's just for the sole fact Xavier Jones for SMU is having a very good season, 884 yards on 165 carries, 14 touchdowns. Right now, Memphis, passing wise, it's not terrible, only giving up 186 passing yards, but rushing wise, it's not, I don't think it's even close to SMU because SMU's defense only giving 116. Memphis has given up 188 yards. So I think it's going to be high score. I could see a lot of passing, a lot of it. It could be wasn't it like how was it Baker Mayfield and Mahomes when they played in college? Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, was that ridiculously high scoring game? It wouldn't surprise me if we saw a game like this. And this is what I love college, because you see the teams that don't get the limelight, other than maybe once a season, if that, they're going to play their hearts out because they want to show off, for, TV and, if there's any, potential for, NFL, down the line for any of these players, they're going to want to show out. So we're going to see a fun, exciting, if you like offense, this is your game.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up our college football talk as we have Oregon heading to USC this week, and I think that Justin Herbert has a big week. Oregon on the road struggles a little bit, but wins close. I got Oregon winning and staying undefeated in the Pac-12.
Yep, I got Oregon taking this one on the road in USC, 31-24. USC, though, 5-3. They have not quit on Clay Helton yet. Again, I still think that they're probably going to fire him because I think they think they're going to get a Meyer. I don't.
Bold strategy.
Yeah, I think that's the plan to go after Urban. But Justin Herbert, they survived at home like with Washington State. They drove down. Herbert led them down the field to get a game-winning field goal. He's playing very well, and he's gone on the radar this year. But again, I think it's because they play at 10:15 at night. You see what Tua's doing, you see what Joe Burrow's doing, you see what all these guys are doing, and everybody forgets Justin Herbert. He's got 21 touchdowns, though only one interception. But I just, and I think they're able to get enough because USC's defense is 90th in the country overall. I don't think USC's will be able enough to stop them. I think it'd be 31-24 Oregon. Caden Slovis, though, the true freshman, has played well, but this, they did beat Utah on a short week at home. So now you're going up against another great defense, probably the second best defense in the Pac-12. and Oregon. I think he's going to struggle a little bit. I think he's going to make a couple of mistakes, but I think Oregon will go on the road to get the win.
I also have Oregon winning. It has to be the only reason why Herbert's flying on the radar has to be the time that they play. Because I mean, look at it: 2,104 yards passing, 21 touchdowns, 1 interception. What more can you ask for? I mean, who's playing better than him? Burrows and Tua? And that's probably it. Oh, then maybe, some other, that's, we really don't, haven't heard of. But the guy's playing insane. He's a top talent for the NFL draft. And I think ultimately, the guy that's that good, if I'm him, I'm going to want to show out so I can show, because playing it late at night, that I'm with, to level of Tua and all that. And I want to show why, because I believe didn't he stay? He stayed back.
He stayed back to win national championship.
Yeah, which I don't national championships in their future, but just to at least show off, and maybe better his draft stock. Because I mean, he probably would have been right up there with the top picks, but maybe be able to solidify that more. And I think he's going to have a big game, and ultimately he's going to carry them to a victory.
That's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with RKJ. For my co-host Justin D'Onofrio and Kyle Galuli, I'm Steve Risser. We also want to thank everybody who joined us this morning on Facebook Live.
Thank you.
We definitely want to thank you for the support. And we'll be back next week. We'll be recapping the baseball season, talking week 10 of the NFL season, week 11 of the college football season, and some NBA. Enjoy Game 7. Have a great weekend, everybody.